Talk of cutting U.S. aid to Israel showed up in the Republican primary debate just this week. We're going to break it down right here on this show. What would that look like? I think everybody's asking, well, what is it good? Is it bad? What is American aid to Israel? What does that look like? And what would it look like if it was cut? A lot more right here. Stay tuned. I'm Joshua, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Guys, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that. We got a lot of great content we're always putting out, and it's always cutting-edged with what's going on. Republican primaries just happened, and we're going to dig into the Israel content that happened there in those debates. Watch the whole debate. Oh, pretty nice. Pretty good. We got a pretty good show going on in America. But we're going to focus on what's actually going down. How do these guys, what are they talking about, and how does it concerning Israel? Ramaswamy talked about cutting aid, and Nikki Haley fired back, pretty fiery Israel supporter over there. She said it's not that Israel needs America. Well, that's a pretty big statement if you really think about it. It's not that Israel needs America. That's really fascinating that she would say that as an American politician, but it's because she really understands something very deep. Now, we're going to talk about this a little bit, and we're going to talk about more about Nikki Haley's approach. We're going to talk about what it would look like if aid, because a lot of American aid, we're going to talk about how much aid is actually come into Israel from America. Massive amount of aid, economic aid and military aid, and a host of other aid that has come in, massive dollar mark on that has helped build this nation of Israel. A huge blessing to the nation of Israel. We're going to talk about the blessings, and we're also going to talk about those ties that maybe not so much of a blessing on some of those political ties that make Israel. They're steering a little bit, and so we'll talk that through. We'll break it down here. One thing as we just kick off here, 1971, America was supplying quite a lot of economic aid, military aid as well, but we'll talk about economic aid because it's important to note that maybe not all is as it seems. What does it look like for Israel to be receiving aid? Well, that means Israel's not strong enough to stand on its own. If it has to receive aid, this is just something to think about. If Israel's not economically strong, it needs aid to maintain stability. So 1971, America began to help Israel economically. In 2007, Bibi Netanyahu was able to slowly wean off of that aid. So that's an incredible thing, that Israel no longer needed that aid. It became economically stable. It was able to grow. It was able to stand up on its own 2 feet. So let's think about this for a second. There's 2 different sides here. We want Israel to stand on its own 2 feet. I would like to see a strong enough Israeli military that it wouldn't require military aid from America with all the strings that are attached. Now, at the same time, I would like to see America be the strongest Israel supporting nation, meaning maybe good, maybe bad. Does Israel need the military aid? And if so, yes, we need to give it, and we need to give it as much as we can. Israel are in a hardship, but let's work together to create something amazing and for the benefit of Israel. So that thought maybe just blew everything out of the water here. What is pro-Israel? Is it giving aid or is it not giving aid? Well, maybe it's somewhere in between. We want to see Israel strong, and we need to have leaders that are in the top that are not weakening Israel, but helping Israel with with an understanding of what Israel needs at the time. And if it's the time to begin weaning off of military aid from America, we would support that. If it's not time, here at the Israel Guys, what we want is a strong Israel standing on its own 2 feet. And let's break this down a little bit. This is a congressional research service that I took all this information off. You'll find this. This will be attached in the links. It's a long, almost 40 pages or so of congressional research that all of this is pulled from. Let's break it down. Israel's the largest cumulative recipient of U.S. foreign assistance since World War II. So America has given amazing amount of aid to Israel. It's the largest recipient of foreign military financing. Annually, U.S. aid to Israel represents approximately 16% of the overall Israeli defense budget. Now, if you know about defense in Israel, you know that's a massive amount of Israel's budget, and Israel actually has one of the highest in the world, one of the highest defense budgets for its country in the entire world. Meaning, there's a reason why Israel put so much. Look at the neighborhood. Israel has to be the strongest in the neighborhood, and America has helped Israel to get there. And we're so, obviously, America is appreciative. Israel is appreciative of America's help all throughout the times. We'll get into the shoestrings a little bit here in a bit about those little steering wheel that sometimes causes trouble. At the present, though, all U.S. aid to Israel in the form of military assistance, all the different forms, all across to date, the U.S. has provided Israel with $158 billion in assistance. That's incredible. America has given an amazing amount to this people. So now today that looks like about $3.3 billion in annual foreign military financing to Israel, and that will continue through 2028. That's already signed and sealed. This financing to Israel is sealed to 2028. It goes in 10-year increments, and that last 10-year increment was signed off, and it's still moving forward. And so the earliest we could talk about actually starting to wean this off would be 2028. So we're still a ways out from even the possibility of weaning off foreign military financing to Israel from the U.S. We talk about things like fighter jets. Israel is the first international operator of the F-35. That was straight from America. It's a strike fighter. These guys are incredible. This is known as one of the most technologically advanced fighter jets ever made, and that came from America. Hey guys, we're the first ones. Americans were the first ones to put people in the air on those airplanes, right? So that's something that Americans can give to Israel, and that's an amazing gift to give. Teach them how to use those things. Israel currently has a 50. They've purchased 50 of the F-35s, and this is funded again with American assistance. So now we're going to outline, that's the good part. We're saying Americans are helping Israel to establish. There's a lot of politics in between. We've gotten involved in a few things we shouldn't have. We've helped in Israel's May days. We have been there to help at times, crucial times, when Israel need restock. We came in and we helped as Americans. That was critical. Here's the problems. Those strings that are attached look like this. We'll describe it. Arms sales of the U.S. are supplied to Israel only for defense purposes. So meaning there's a string right there. This is only for defense. Israel's not allowed to actually go in and take, right? So that's one of the political problems we're seeing in Judea and Samaria. This is looking through an American lens, right? The Americans see that as taking, right? They're going to say this is only for defense purposes. United States limits Israel's use of military equipment only for defense purposes. That's a little bit of a problem. And here's another one. One of the criteria is legitimate self-defense. Okay, so who decides what legitimate self-defense is? Hey guys, we'll be right back. But first, with the new school year just around the corner, it's important to remember that not every child has parents to help them pick out a backpack and walk them into the classroom. Imagine being an orphan child facing the challenges of going back to school without the support of a loving family. But guess what? We can be their family. We can work together with the amazing Alumim Orphanage to help Israeli orphans gear up for the successful school year. These children have faced hardships that most of us cannot even begin to fathom. As I'm sure most of you know, the Jewish people have faced so much over the generations. Even in Israel, they continue to face terror attacks on a daily basis. Some of these children have lost their parents to terror. Others have parents who are mentally unstable, but with your help, we can make their educational journey a little easier. By donating, you're not just buying school supplies or clothing. You're investing in a better future for these young children who have been dealt a tough hand. Your donation will go directly towards purchasing backpacks, clothing, shoes, and all the essential supplies that every child deserves. Every dollar counts, and even a small contribution can add up to make a huge impact. Your support is more than just financial. It's a godly message of hope and care that these children will carry with them every day. Let's give these kids their best shot at success as they head back to school. Remember, it's not just about backpacks and pencils. It's about showing them that they are loved and supported every step of the way. Click the link in the description below to donate today. This is a really big question I have. So if it's all based on legitimate self-defense, what about Jews in Judea and Samaria? Okay, the State Department right now stands against Jews living in Judea and Samaria. So is that legitimate self-defense if you're defending Jews living in Judea and Samaria? So these are some of the problems, some of the strings that are attached to these American dollars today that are very political. It's not meant for defense. It's only meant. It's not meant for moving in. It's only meant for defense. And so these costs. This is not just blatant anymore. This is not just a gift for Israel to use as a nation, any other nation that would be defending itself as well as going and waging its wars against its enemies. It's only meant for self-defense, okay? Questions over misuse of U.S. supplied equipment to Israel has come about many times throughout history, even as noted here in the notes here. You can click down again in the description below. That tear gas sales to Israel during the late 80s was a big blow up in America. We're giving Israel tear gas. Are they using it correctly? So there's a lot of, we've got that. We're hanging it over them. We're pulling them around. Even so much so, as you guys know, the political situation with the Palestinians, the Arab Palestinians in these areas, the Arabs that came from all over the area now and have been branded now as Palestinians, these Arabs, when they build illegal houses or when a terrorist comes and kills Israelis, you know what the Israeli response is to go in and bulldoze that house. Well, some of those bulldozers, according to this research, were through military aid. And there's American politicians, lawmakers in America that say, wait, that was military aid given to Israel. Is that consistent with American policy? More strings attached. D9 bulldozers. If these were a part of the U.S. aid to Israel, military aid, these kind of things cause problems. 2006, the U.S. supplied cluster munitions to Israel and Lebanon for the Lebanon War. There was problems with that. Again, they're back home pulling strings. 2020, 2021, again, the same old thing came up with using U.S. equipment, donated equipment, for demolishing these homes. This is one of the biggest things that Americans are consumed with is Israel destroying terrorist homes, and really that's all, just terrorist homes. Now, why does that? So literally, that's the most nitpicky thing you could possibly think of. A terrorist, America's getting involved in saying that maybe this isn't correct, that you're destroying a terrorist house, and that's a pretty nitpicky shoestring, trying to pull you one direction or the other when it comes to the massive international aid that America is giving. So there's a lot of oversight trying to tell Israel how to do it. The State Department also, they're dedicated to a two-state solution. Israel is not. Israel's not dedicated to a two-state solution. So all of this aid coming in to Israel is in mind of forcing Israel into a two-state solution, creating a Palestinian state. That's a problem. That's a big problem because that's not consistent with Israeli vision and Israeli goals for this area. Israel would prefer to be a strong nation in its old, ancient homeland. So Israel does not believe in a two-state solution. That's an American thing. And America, with all that financing, those billions of dollars are coming in to do that. Also, one of those strings would be human rights. Now, who decides what human rights? Human rights are a lot of those strings that are attached. The whole thing that came down with Al Jazeera journalist Shireen Abu Akleh, when all that went down, well, American State Department really got involved and was pulling a lot there, trying to steer and trying to tell Israel what to do because they really have a lot invested in Israel, and they feel like they have the ability to tell Israel what they can and can't do. And when situations happen, if they decide that that's a human rights violation, then Israel's to blame. And what does that look like when you got big America behind you? And of course, I would completely disagree with that. That's obviously not a human rights violation. We're talking about Israel fighting terrorism, and no one in the world is held to the standard. No military in the entire world would be held to the standard that we're seeing America try to push Israel into. So that's not fair to Israel from American stance. We also, the biggest point here is Judea and Samaria. So all of this aid coming in, again, I told you they're pro two-state solution. Israel is not. So Israel has there's 800,000 citizens of Israel living in Judea and Samaria, and a lot of this assistance does not apply to this area. Obviously, the military assistance does, thank God. But what if they decided it wouldn't? Now, that would be massive for Israel. This is an incredible part of Israel's security situation is here in Judea and Samaria. How about migration and refugee assistance or absorption centers, ulpans, the schooling, youth aliyah, relocation to Israel, U.S.-Israeli scientific and business cooperation. All those did not exist in Judea and Samaria because the U.S. decided that they're not going to work beyond the pre-1967 borders with those aid relief programs. Like I said, in the end of the day, though, is that a problem? I don't really know so much that it's a problem. Having Americans trying to sway opinion and pull political stunts out here in Judea and Samaria is actually not so helpful to Israel. Israel does not appreciate that. So maybe it's good that they don't have so much operating here aside from the military. And you see that they are involved heavily in the military aid programs, and that is a little problematic for Israel. Now, I just want to, that's big issue there. I want to talk about Israel is actually rising. We talked about the economic aid that came to Israel. Israel standing on its own 2 feet economically. We see that on the world. They're exporting all over the place. What about Israel's military? This is the big question now. Israel has actually come to a point where it's a global leader in certain defense technologies. You guys probably already know that. America is buying defense equipment from Israel now. Yep. Here, America gave a lot to Israel in the beginning. Israel's become a massive, really a technological, leader in global technologies here for defense. And America is now purchasing things. It said in 2019 that the U.S. military actually purchased $1.5 billion worth in Israeli defense technologies. So Israel is really coming to the top, even in its defense and technology systems that are being purchased in America. So that's also interesting to note. The Iron Dome that was created and Israel used that as one of the vital protection systems here in Israel is now in America. America bought that. We have a lot, and that was a joint venture for American and Israeli, the Iron Dome together. But now the program was here. Now they brought it to America. There's all kinds of technologies that are now surfacing here in Israel that are being bought globally, America being the recipient of a lot of those. The Trophy Active Protection System for the Abrams tanks, enhancement night vision goggles. We talk about laser finders for U.S. Marines, helmets for F-35 pilots, wings for the F-35, electronic sensors, radars, cameras, even on the U.S.-Mexican border, all coming from Israel today. How about that? So Israel's rising steadily. Becoming a really superpower in this area, obviously, but even globally, they're being looked at as a serious thing. We look at Ukraine today. They're begging Israel for help. We're looking at places all around the world where Israel's actually becoming a global leader when it comes to technology and defense. So that's a new step. And maybe, just maybe, it's time for Israel to stand on its own 2 feet. Again, I agree with Nikki Haley. She said it's not that Israel needs America. So Nikki Haley's position, I completely agree with, in that it's not really about, it's not that Israel needs America. Her point is that America needs Israel. America needs Israel in this place. So let's work together to create a stronger Israel, a stronger America. Together, that would be an amazing thing. And maybe it is. You know, the point there, not siding with anyone in the political grounds, because actually what I'm telling you is smack in the middle of all of them. What is the right thing to do? I'm not going to tell you either way, because I could see Israel standing on its own 2 feet all by itself without American aid. But I don't know. Because I'm not Bibi Netanyahu. I'm not standing as the prime minister of Israel. I don't know what's the best situation right now. So I'm going to let the politicians decide what's the best situation. I only want to give a little light, shed a little light on that situation so you guys know out there, as the people of the world, what really is going on behind the scenes. What are those strings that Americans are pulling on the backside of a lot of money to Israel's security? And how has Israel actually jumped over that in the economic area? I think that's fascinating. I'm just waiting on the sideline to see what actually comes down. We're looking forward to seeing a stronger Israel. Guys, Israel is growing. Israel's getting stronger every day. And we just pray that America would come alongside the Jewish people, strengthen them in their weaknesses, and through that, Hey, that age-old blessing of Abraham would be on America. That's here at the Israel Guys, that's what we want to see. We want to see America blessed because they're blessing Israel. How they're going to do that, we'll find out. And here at the Israel Guys, we're going to be keeping you guys in tune with what's actually going down. Guys, we'll be back here every day of the week. And with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel, guys, always come back. We are looking forward to sharing more with you here at the Israel Guys. Stay tuned for tomorrow's show.